Hare Krishna. A warm welcome to all of you. Welcome to a 5-day session on the journey of self-discovery. And today and tomorrow are going to be very interesting and crucial presentations. Today we are going to cover one God or many gods. So before that, I will do a short recap of what we have already covered in our previous sessions. Day 1, we did what is the difference and common points between us and animals. That is sleeping, eating, enjoying, defending. These are the common points. And the differences are ability to inquire, then bliss, then the ability to make choices, right and wrong choices, and determination. We have got strong determination to succeed. Then we spoke about what are the relative problems. One man's food is another man's poison. Then we have what are the real problems in life. These are the some of the major problems are birth, old age, disease, and death. And some of the other miseries that we face in life are those that are given to us by other living entities, that is Adi Bhautika. Then those that are given to, which are created by our own mind and body, that is Adi Atmika. Then we have those that are caused by natural or by demigods, natural disasters and natural calamities, that is Adi Devika. Then we also spoke about temporary solution, which will not give us any relief. It will give us relief only for a very short period, using something like, some lotion or something for a very short time of speculation, and then doing religious activities and getting involved in all our gadgetries. These are some temporary solutions, and the only permanent solution is connecting to God. So that is what we spoke on our day 1. And day 2, we spoke about, does God really exist? So in this, we spoke about how a creator is there, a lawmaker is there, then there is organization and order, there is design. We see beautiful design and beauty all around us. So that means there is someone who is behind all this, right? Then we spoke about the definition of God as he's the source of everything. He's the proprietor, he's the enjoyer, he's the controller, and he's Bhagwan, who possesses 6 opulences of strength, wealth, beauty, fame, renunciation, etc. So then seeing God, how do we see God? We cannot, it is difficult for us because our eyes are not perfect, our ears are not perfect, all our senses are not perfect. So just by seeing the effect, that is the creation around us, the beauty around us, we come to the conclusion that there must be a cause to this effect. Like how we see a table fan or a fan, and we understand that there are wires, that there is some electrical connection which is making the fan work. Similarly, arrow which is released, we are looking at the arrow, we know that there is someone who's released this arrow, right? Who's got a bow and who's just released the arrow. So similarly, we have to think about seeing the effect. We think about that there is a cause behind all this effect. And what are the methods of acquiring knowledge? This is Pratyaksh Praman, Anuman Praman, and Shabda Praman. So Pratyaksh and Anuman are not very accurate because it depends on our senses. Pratyaksh is seeing is believing, and Anuman is guesswork, mental speculation. So both are not, this is this, this is that. So it is not accurate. And Shabda Praman is the most accurate because it is based on our scriptures, it is based on our acharyas, it is a lineage from whom a word given by God has been handed over to us. Before, in the olden days, it used to be happening through Shruti. That is, only people used to hear, and their memory was so good that they just used to repeat it. So it later on, it was just when Kali started, then Vyasdev wrote everything down, because he felt that our Kali memories, we all know what our Kali memories are all, right? Today we'll do something, tomorrow we forget what we did. So because for our Kali memories, he wrote everything down, and our scriptures have come through, like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Mahabharat, Puranas, Itihasas, everything has come through. And why we should put faith in our scriptures? Because so why we should put faith in our scriptures? Because it is the historical, it is history that is being narrated. It is also, there is so much of proof that is existing behind the scriptures. Okay, so we have to put faith in our scriptures. Actually, yesterday I didn't cover the entire what is there in usually a journey of self-discovery course. We just covered, we did a very cursory reading or studying of what the soul is all about, and body is a temporary, is of a temporary nature, and soul is of a permanent eternal nature. And how we have to understand the soul. We cannot see the soul, but we can experience the soul through consciousness. What is life? Life comes from life. Life cannot come from matter. And again, by meditating, by chanting the names of Lord, by connecting to God, we will understand not only from where we are coming, we also from to where we are going. We will understand everything. So today's session is all about one God or many gods. So we know that the sun is known by different names. So can someone give me one name? Arya?
Miss Ravi.
Yeah, great. Uditi?
Surya.
Yes, Surya. Anyone else? Anisha? Think of any more?
No.
Ragni?
Bhanu.
Yes. Let us see the different names. Ravi, Suraj, Dinkar, Solas, Bhaskar, right? We have Sun. This is in different languages, okay? Fayo, Soleil. These are all in different languages. Okay, so similarly, one God is known by different names. So this is actually Jehovah. So in Christianity, we would think that Jesus is the one God. Actually, Jesus is the Son of God, and he is seated to the right of the Supreme God, the Supreme Father. It is given in the Bible also as such. So Jehovah is their Supreme Father's name. Okay, in their scriptures it's given as that, and in Quran, it's given as Allah, and in our scriptures, it's given as Krishna or Sri Ram. So, if God is one, then why are there so many scriptures? Why is there a Quran, Bible, Bhagavad Gita, and of course the Parsis have their own scriptures. Then the Jews have their own scriptures. You know, Jews actually, their basis was Christianity, and then they started off together, and then Christianity developed later on with the advent of Jesus Christ. Similarly, actually, if you see the basis of the Muslims and the Christians were again the same, then later on, Christianity took another path, and Muslims, their Quran, they took another path. So it was the sons were the same, started off as such. So can you tell me, if God is one, why are there so many scriptures? Yes, Uditi?
Mataji, because some people have different beliefs, different religions.
Very good. Anyone else wants to answer? Just guess. Okay. So one reason is that different levels of people, right? Some, if you go, I don't know whether you have already done book distribution. If you do book distribution, right? Let's say I take the Bhagavad Gita and walk around and start giving it to different people. Even in our own, say, religion, we can say, actually ours is the Sanatan Dharma, but even in our own religion, some people are ready, some people are not. Say, like when I started coming to this, when I did the journey of self-discovery first class, with me, one of my mother's friend, she also came along with me, and she also attended the class. But while for me, it was completely my life turned, it was completely a changeover, a game changeover, as I say, complete. I completely decided this is the path I want to take. This is where I want to go. I want to start walking the way towards take the path walking towards God. While for her, it did not make any difference whatsoever. She she attended the 6 days, while my husband also joined it. Husband dropped out after first one day. He said, "This is too much. I can't stomach it." And while she did all the 6 days, but she, after that, she did not show any interest whatsoever. She did not even come for any of our lectures or anything whatsoever. So that just shows that there are different levels of people. And like for an LKG, you cannot expect him to understand the third standard concept, right? Or for a 10th standard person, you cannot expect him to understand a graduate or a second year's graduate or a PhD level concept, right? So similarly, we are also progressing in the same way. So every birth, that's what I was talking about in the soul concept yesterday, that our soul develops and gathers information and experience steps, taking our steps towards the Lord, according to also what reciprocation we are getting from the Lord. Okay. While some people are very determined that I will take this path, some others take a long time in coming, right? So it depends on the level of people. So Lord, see how merciful He is. He does not say, okay, you cannot understand what I'm saying. Okay, you just languish in hell or in prison or in go here, go. No, the Lord is so merciful. He says, okay, you cannot understand Bhagavad Gita here. You can take the Quran and try and move up and up, step up and up, or take the Holy Bible and move one step at a time. I cannot say that Bhagavad Gita is the highest, but it is that Bhagavad Gita, because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself is saying, Krishna himself is talking, right? So it is the song of God. While in Quran and in Bible, what has happened is these are also not only stories of what has happened, like it's history. It's been written down. They also say like the Bible was written in another language, and the language through translation has completely changed. Okay, so the meaning has changed. So many people are saying that also. So of course, in Bhagavad Gita also we it's written in Sanskrit. But if you learn Sanskrit, you can understand, right? You can understand what is written. The meaning has not changed, and it also looks. How will you say कि Bhagavad Gita is one of the highest scriptures? Because just by seeing the transformation that is taking place, when our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, he went to the West and he started preaching the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, he changed people's lives. Just people who were who were committing, who were doing so many sinful activities, just by being in his association, in his kind, through his kindness, he changed so many of them, and so many became devotees and disciples of Srila Prabhupada, right? So Bhagavad Gita, that is one proof. What is the proof of a scripture? Is if it can it can change lives for the better. That is one proof of scripture. Another very important reason is, like, you have the pocket dictionary, right? And then you have a Chambers dictionary. So in a pocket dictionary, you will not find very high funda words like, corroborate or cataclysm and all those type of words you will not find. While in a Chambers dictionary, you will find pocket dictionary will contain all simple words, simple meanings. It is meant for people to carry it in their pockets. So it's a small book. You cannot keep so many words also in that, right? So while a Chambers dictionary will carry so many words. So that is also one reason why, even if there is God is one, but there are so many scriptures. Another reason is also, like, people follow scriptures because of various reasons, right? Some may because of fear. Some may because they think that they will be rewarded by it. Some may because of duty bound. They feel, this is my duty. I am born as a human being. This is my duty to venerate my God. That means worship my God. So they feel, and love. This is the highest sentiment that one can develop. And this is what Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is trying to achieve. So now, let us understand whether first, when we are saying, yesterday also we were talking about this, does God have a form? So I think all of us agreed that God has a form. So yesterday, so let us look at the reasons for it. One is the scriptures, the Bhagavatam, the Brahma Samhita. Here is in Brahma. Can someone tell me who spoke the Brahma Samhita and when was it spoken? Shanti, you have any idea?
No, Mataji. But
when was Brahma Samhita spoken? Okay, Brahma Samhita was spoken by Brahma, Lord Brahma himself. But there's a beautiful story when he spoke this. Okay, so some of you may be aware of the story, and what had happened was, Brahma became very proud. Okay, so he saw a small little boy playing around with his cowherd boyfriends, and here Krishna was having his curd rice in his hand, and he was offering it to his friends, and and his friends had chach or buttermilk in their mouth, and they would like that, and Krishna would do like that, and Krishna would open his mouth and the charge would come into his mouth. That is how he used to reciprocate with his friends. Such loving exchanges used to happen in Vrindavan. So when he looked down, he said, God, is that Supreme God? He is behaving like this. I don't believe this is Supreme God. He's a small boy. Everybody is just saying that he is the Supreme God. I don't believe. Let me test him. he said to himself. And he came down. Anybody knows this story? Yes, Uditi?
Yes, Mataji, I think I've heard it some months ago. I don't actually remember it properly, but I think I've heard.
Okay. Yeah, Ragni, you can narrate the story?
Mataji, I had read it in a storybook. I don't remember it fully.
Okay. Okay. So what happened was, so Brahmaji said, let me put a test. Let me test this small boy. So what he did, when all the he first the cows started grazing, going away from the boys. Okay, slowly they started grazing, moving away, and then the calves also started moving away. So when the boys said, "Oh, our cows and calves have moved far away from us, Krishna, let me just look for them. We'll just look for them." And in Vrindavan, cows and calves are their life and soul. They are, for them, they are beloved. And so they said, "Let me go and look for them." And they went in search of the cows and the calves. And Krishna was sitting alone. He is waiting for his friends. When will my friends come? I'm feeling so bored here. I'm feeling so lonely here, he was thinking. And there, they were looking for the cows and calves. And suddenly, what did Brahmaji do? He suddenly took all the cows and calves and the cowherd boys, and he disappeared, and he went into a cave and put all of them there and put them into Yog Nidra. Yog Nidra is spiritual sleep, in a trance. So all of them were sleeping. And here Krishna was waiting. And then Krishna knew immediately. Oh, he said to himself, "Oh, so Brahma is playing this." Okay, so let him play the trick. Now let me bewilder Brahma, he said. And what did he do? He just expanded himself, okay, and he created all the boys, every boy, as with every smallest detail. Okay, a boy would have a mole, means that Krishna expanded himself as a very boy, and he also had a mole, scratch, everything, smallest scratch, and everything bodily detail. He expanded himself. Krishna expanded himself as all the cowherd boys, as all the cows, and as all the calves. And this was, and now one reason why he did was to teach Brahma a lesson, right? To break, to smash his pride. And another reason why he did, all the mothers, all the cowherd mothers of the cowherd boys, you always loved Krishna the most, even more than their children. They loved Krishna, and they would wait for Krishna to come back from the pasture grounds. And they would, when Krishna was going, they would be so sad to see him go, and they would think, why can't I be with Krishna all the time? Why this separation? Like that. And then uh, all the cows, all the cows loved Krishna more than their calves. Okay, and all the calves, of course, loved Krishna the most. So because of this, Krishna said, "Let me give them a chance to associate with me." So he expanded himself as all the cowherd boys, as all the cows and the calves. And when the boys returned, so that day, when the boys returned back, the mothers were filled with love for their children. And they said, "How can it be? I always used to love Krishna more than my boys. But today I love my children so much, as much as Krishna." And I think that, and they embrace their children. Actually, it is Krishna only, right? Only the bodily features were of their children. And they embrace Krishna to their utmost satisfaction. And just think about it, such a beautiful experience, right? and all the cows, when they saw their calves, milk started flowing from their udders. So much love they felt for their calves, and they had so much love for their calves, and they ran to their calves and started licking them. Okay, now so this Brahma did this for a moment. Okay, for a moment only he took the boys and the cowherd, the cows and the cows. But for Bulok, Earth planet, 1 minute of Brahmalok is equal to 1 year. So 1 year passed, and the cowherd boys were the mothers of the cowherd boys were with their children, and which was Krishna himself, and the cows with their calves, which was again Krishna himself, and so much of love. So after a minute, he left all of them and he came back. He said, "What? I had taken away all the cows and the calves, and yet they are here. What has happened?" And so he was in such bewilderment that he couldn't even stand. He just sat down, and then when he looked up, he saw, and this time again after a year he comes back, and they are all in the pasture land, and it is in the same, and when they come to meet, they are sitting in a lotus like position, right? Krishna in the center, and with every cowherd boys, like round, and then the whorls of a lotus flower, how it is, right? Like that they were all sitting round and round and round and round, and with Krishna in the center, and every cowherd boy thinks that, oh, Krishna is looking at me. And that is the effect that Krishna has. Everyone thinks that Krishna is looking at me. So then when Brahma was so bewildered, and he said, everyone is present. And then when he sat down, then he saw that he saw Krishna's form in every boy transformed into Krishna, and every cow and calf transformed into Krishna. And he understood that it was, and he understood that this was God, because a mystical yogi, again we were discussing yesterday, there is a difference between God and a mystical yogi, right? A yogi can create a flower or a fruit like that because of his yogic powers. Nowadays yogis do exist like that, where they will take a dip in the Himalayas and they come up in the Ganges in the Haridwar. People have seen suddenly a yogi appearing from nowhere, because they travel distances through that, because of their yogic powers, and because of the through meditation this happens. And so what happened, so where did I lose my thread? So just by all these mystical powers, we cannot say that the person is God. God is, just see, when Krishna he expanded himself into every boy to the smallest detail, and so many boys. There were thousands and thousands of cows, and it is said that Nanda Maharaj had 5 lakh cows and calves, and then the cows had calves. So, and then the boys, so many thousands of boys, he expanded himself into all of them to the smallest detail. So, so that means that it is not, so only God can achieve this. So Brahma understood that this is no other but God. So he was filled with remorse. He fell down at Krishna's feet and he begged pardon. And that was when Brahma Samhita was spoken. He started saying prayers after prayers after prayers after prayers, talking about Krishna as the source of everything. And Krishna, you are the Govinda, you are the primeval Lord. All the prayers of the Brahma Samhita. So so you can see that, and even in the Bhagavatam, okay, in the Bhagavatam also it is mentioned. So I will give you all the verses where it is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. The scriptures tell us that God has a form, and one is, so if you say that God has a form, but a spiritual form, okay? He's not a material form like us. So if sometimes the scriptures say Nirakar doesn't mean that it does not have a form. It means that it does not have a material form. He has a form, a spiritual, and something which is completely different from us. Okay. And so if God has a spiritual form, and which is, we cannot even imagine, comprehend what the form of God, right? So if we say God is like this or God is like that, it is actually binding him, putting a trying to put a framework within the form of God, right? So it is not like that. God is within and beyond our experience. So God cannot be, God is within and beyond our experience. So you would say, then how, if I do get a chance to see God, then how will I see God? You will, when you see God, God will make the facility for you to see him. You cannot, we cannot see God. Okay, God gives us the facility and the opportunity and the mercy, everything comes from him. That is why when we say bhakti, bhakti is the easiest process, but it is also the most tough. Actually, it is not tough in the sense that you have to please Krishna. Everything has to come from the, it is a descending process. When when God becomes merciful towards you, then we can see God, we can see the form of God. Another thing, also logic, right? So logically, if you see everything around us, we have a form, okay? We have a form. Every animal has a form, every plant has a form, every tree has a form. We can see everyone around us. So why wouldn't God have a form? It is but natural God will have a form, right? So, but who is, so when God has a form, it is also both personal and impersonal. And in Bible it is said, it is God appeared in a human form. In Quran it is says, God's eyes and face are described. In Sanatan Dharam, that is in Bhagavad Gita, God is said to have comprised of three concepts of Brahman, that is the effulgence, the light of God, Paramatma, whom we are carrying in our heart as super soul, and Bhagwan, the Supreme Lord, whom we were talking about. So who is that one God? So that one God is Krishna. And why would we say that one God is Krishna? Not because of his powers, not because he plays the flute well, not because of he stole butter, not because he had so many gopi friends, but on the authority of scriptures, right? So we already discussed how God is the father, scriptures are our mother. So through that we come to know who is God. And it is mentioned, as I told you, in Brahma Samhita it is mentioned, and in Bhagavatam also it is mentioned. And so in Bhagavad Gita 10.2 mentions that he is the source of everything. Okay, so in 10.2 it is said he is the source of the demigods as well as the sages, but they cannot know him in full. So if we are able to understand him even a little bit, we should be so grateful and so happy, because in spite of the demigods and sages are doing so much, they are not able to understand the Lord, and the Lord is the source of even the demigods and the sages. And then in Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto, third chapter, 28th verse says, how all the avatars are actually coming from Krishna. So Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, Vara avatar, Nrsimha avatar, Vamana avatar, Buddha avatar. Then at last, Kalki avatar, which is soon going to come. Uditi, your hand is raised. Do you have a question, or is it that by mistake? Okay. So we also so is the source of all avatars. So Krishna, when Mother Yashoda, okay, Krishna ate dirt. You may all be knowing this pastime of the Lord. You know, actually, why did Krishna eat dirt? Because Mother Earth wanted to be blessed by the Lord. So just to bless her, Krishna ate earth. So Balram went and complained to Mother Yashoda that, see, Krishna has eaten earth and when mud. And when Mother Yashoda tells Krishna, open your mouth, and the entire creation is to be seen in his mouth. With this scene also is seen in the is seen, right? And then in the Bhagavad Gita is said that when they were on the battlefield, right, and Arjuna prayed to Krishna, and he was very confused, and he wanted, and Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna narrated the entire Bhagavad Gita for him, and he showed him his Vishwarup. Everything, all the demigods were there, or everything, past, present, future, he could say, and all his mouths are open, and everything was being swallowed like that. It was so terrifying, it was so terrible that Arjun said, please Krishna, please, I don't want to see this form, I want to see a two-handed beautiful form playing a flute. And that is how then Krishna showed his form. So Krishna is has got so much power, and he is the source of everything. But for devotees, he just appears in his beautiful form of playing the flute. Okay. So then we also saw yesterday how Bhagavan Krishna has 6 opulences. So when I saw this photo, another story came to my mind. This is a very beautiful story again. This is a story of how Bhrigu Muni once Bhrigu Muni and all the demigods are discussing, okay, and they are all talking about, and someone is saying Brahma is supreme. Someone is saying, or someone is saying Shiva. See how renowned is. Brahma is the creator. Shiva, someone is saying Shiva is so renounced, and some others are saying, no, Vishnu, he's the maintainer. It's so difficult to maintain. So Bhrigu decides he will do the difficult task of finding out who among all three are the most superior or supreme. Does anyone know the story? Okay. Yes, Uditi?
Yes, Mataji, I've heard it about in school. I've heard about it in school.
Hmm.
There was a poem, so in that it was written about this story.
Hmm. So, can you narrate the story? Do you remember? Anesha, do you know the story? Can you narrate the story?
I remember the story,
Hmm.
but I don't exactly know what happened. I remember hearing this story because we did a play also on it, but I don't know what happens.
Okay. So then, Bhrigu Muni goes first to Brahmalok. In Brahmalok, Brahmaji is sitting on the on his lotus flower and is meditating. And then when Bhrigu appears, he just opens his eyes. Actually, Brahmaji is Bhrigu's father. So he says, "Oh, my son," and he's so happy to see his son. "Oh, my son," he says, "you've come. I'm so happy to see you." And he rushes forth to embrace Bhrigu Muni. And Bhrigu Muni just acts, as if he doesn't care about Brahmaji. So what is he trying to do? He's trying to be disrespectful to Brahmaji through thoughts, or just by disregarding him. He has not said anything, and just by disregarding him. So, and Brahma gets so angry. He says, "What is this? This is the way to behave? I am your father, and this is how you behave? You don't even know how to behave. You don't take my blessings, and this is how you behave." Bhrigu doesn't say anything, Bhrigu Muni, and he goes away. Now he goes to Shivlok, Kailash. And there Shivji is sitting in meditation. And then when Bhrigu appears, he opens his eyes. And he sees Bhrigu standing before him. And he also, and Shivji is Bhrigu's brother. Okay, Bhrigu Muni's. So he comes and he's so happy to see Bhrigu Muni. And he says, "Oh, my brother, you've come after such a long time. How are you? Tell me, how are things?" So Bhrigu Muni, what he does, he says, Don't come near me. You are completely, covered with all this ash from the crematorium. You're dirty, and all this jata on your head. See, I don't like it. Please don't come near me." So this is what he does. He disregards or he is disrespectful of him through words. And Shivji gets so angry. He says, "If you were not my brother, I would have really burnt you." So burnt you to the ground. So Bhrigu Muni just pays his obeisance and he goes. Now he goes to Vaikuntha Lok, where Vishnu, Lord Vishnu is seated on the Ananta Shayan on Sheshnag, and Lakshmi ji is massaging his feet. And there when Bhrigu comes, he comes and he kicks or he touches the Lord on his heart, on his chest. So, and Lord Narayan is also in a meditating pose, right? So when he touches, he opens his eyes and he sees Bhrigu, and he says, "Oh, Bhrigu Muni, you've come. I'm so glad to see you. But your tender feet and my chest is so hard like stone. And with your tender foot, you touched my hard heart. Your foot must have got hurt. Let me massage it for you." And he immediately got up and he started massaging his feet, and he got warm water and he bathed his feet and he wiped his feet, and and he sprinkled the water on himself and on his wife, on Lakshmi ji. He did all that, and Bhrigu was so astonished, and he fell down at Lord Vishnu's feet and begged for pardon, for forgiveness. And he says, I'm so sorry, but now I understand that you are the most supreme among all three of Brahmaji, Shivji, and Vishnu. I mean, Brahma and Shiva, you are the Trimurti, as they call, right? So Bhagavan has 6 opulences, which we already discussed yesterday, of knowledge, wealth. So here, what can you see? Here is a beautiful story of how again Krishna with his, he was 6-year-old, right? And the left hand, why did he choose his left hand? So Indra became so proud that he sent to destroy entire Vrindavan. He sent clouds of destruction, that those clouds which are sent during annihilation time, those clouds, Samvantara clouds, he sent those clouds, and so to protect all the residents of Vrindavan, Krishna, what he did, he used his left hand. Why left hand and his little finger? Because the little finger of the left hand is the most weak. So just to show how strong he is, he used the little finger of his left hand to lift Govardhan hill, and that Govardhan hill is still in Vrindavan, and he lifted it, and he stood there for 7 days and 7 nights, protecting like an umbrella, like a huge umbrella, so that all the residents could come under this, and they were all sheltered under this. So he is also so beautiful, okay, and so beautiful that everybody was bewitched. As I told you, the coward ladies, they all loved him more than their children. And of course, the gopis, the small gopis, even anyone, the gopis or the cowherd men, everyone loved Krishna, and they were enamored and enchanted by Krishna, right? So this slide depicts the knowledge. Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, in the midst of the battlefield, and this Bhagavad Gita has become our it's a instruction manual for us. It is our book on which everything is on all our knowledge, spiritual knowledge is based, and everyone who reads it, his life is transformed. So his pastimes, he's become so famous that his pastimes are still spoken now, right? So he's famous, and then renunciation. He was so renounced that he agreed to become the Sarathi of Arjun. And do you know, children? You would say, okay, he became the chariot driver. That is not a big thing. But do you know, in those days, the person who is in the chariot, or riding the chariot, he cannot talk to the chariot driver. So if someone has to tell the chariot driver, go left, they touch with their feet, they touch the left hand side of the charioteer. So that means Arjuna, with his feet, he was touching Krishna's left hand side when he wanted to tell him, that you go to the left, turn the chariot to the left. And with his right foot, he was touching Krishna's right hand side to tell Krishna, go to the right. So he took such a menial position. Can you imagine? He's the supreme Lord. Everything is under his control. He is the sole proprietor of everything. He is the sole enjoyer. Nothing. He doesn't need anyone. But for his devotees, is completely sold out. In fact, Krishna says, if anyone goes to Krishna and says, please Krishna, I would like your association, I would like to be with you, I would like your, I want you, I want to be with you. So Krishna says, I don't have means I'm not there with, means I cannot give you myself, because I am in the heart of my devotees. So you go to my devotees and you go and ask them, they will give you, they will give me to you. So if we want Krishna, we have to go to his devotees, because his devotees are there. They are carrying Krishna in their hearts, and they will give us Krishna. So we have come to the question, like, if Lord Krishna is the supreme, then what about the others, right? So one is, I already spoke about how Krishna, Jehovah, Allah, they all mean the same meaning of the supreme God. They are just different names. And we also spoke about how Jesus Christ is seated on the right hand side of God, and he's the Son of God. So now if we say the four, we come to the four tattvas. Okay, so here I have a very beautiful story to tell you. We will discuss the tattvas and then I'll tell the story. Okay, first is the Vishnu tattva. Okay, super soul and Krishna, Vishnu, Matsya, Narsimhadev, Ram, Buddha, Kalki, etc. They are all Vishnu tattvas. Okay, they are either the Lord himself or a plenary portion or an expansion of the Lord. Then you have Shakti tattva, that is Radharani, all the internal potencies of the Lord. Radharani, Sita Devi, Mahalakshmi, Lakshmi, Durga. Why we say Durga also? Because they say that from Radharani or from Lakshmi only, Durga also is an expansion, right? So all of the female expansions or the plenary expansions of the female forms all come under Shakti Tattva. Then you have Shambhu Tattva, that is Lord Shiva. Actually, Rudra or Shiva appeared from the between the eyebrows, from the middle portion of Lord Brahma. Okay, and when he came out crying, and that's why he is also given the name of Rudra. So Lord Shiva is not a jiva tattva or a entity, living entity like us. He is another form of Vishnu, but like how milk and curd are. Okay, milk and curd are the same, but only their properties are a little different. So Shambhu Tattva, the property is different, but they are same. Then you have Jiva Tattva, the soul. In this, everyone from Brahma to demigods, humans, animals, birds, fishes, okay, then Rakshasas, demons, Asuras, they all come under this Jiva Tattva. Because we all have soul, we have a body, only the body may be different from each other. Like the Asuras and the demigods are more powerful than us, than a human body. They are capable of great power, but they all come under Jiva Tattva. So anyone knows the story of the waxing and the waning of how the moon is waxing and waning? Do you know the story? Yes, Uditi?
Mataji, because one day Ganesh ji was coming from a feast, so the moon god, he saw Ganeshji in the path. He made fun of him and said, "You are so fat," and made fun of him. So Ganeshji was very angry. So he
followed
gave
them.
him a shrap, and after that moon god asked him to forgive him, and after some time Ganeshji was had cooled down his mind, and he wanted to forgive him, but he could not take back his curse. So he said that you will be waxing and waning, and one day in the month you will be the full moon will appear.
Good, very good. So, okay, so this is just the same thing. Vishnu Tattva, Shakti Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Sambhu Tattva and Jiva Tattva. So is Krishna an incarnation of Vishnu or Vishnu an incarnation of Krishna? Anybody can answer? Yes, Durga?
Mataji, I think Vishnu is an incarnation of Krishna.
Radni?
Mataji, I also think that Vishnu is incarnation of Krishna.
Shanti?
Vishnu incarnation of Krishna.
Yes. So all of you are correct. So actually what happens is at the time, I mean, when Krishna appeared, Krishna doesn't appear, sorry. And Krishna, so when Krishna, he expands himself into 4 forms, right? Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Anirudh. And from there, from Sankarshan, Balram also appears. Then you have, first Krishna and Balram appear, and from Balram, there is another form, 4 forms, same. And from Krishna also, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Anirudh appear. And from Vasudev, Vishnu appear. That is Mahavishnu. And each universe has a different Mahavishnu. So all the incarnations are coming from Krishna. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So this is a you may be able to identify how it's the same, right? It's the same actor. It's the same actor, right? But he's doing different roles. Okay. So similarly, God just comes in all the avatars and to experience different rasas. Okay. He came as Narsingadev because he wanted to have a nice fight, and actually Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were his devotees only, old, I mean in Esther years, and they were cursed to become demons. But so he just wanted a nice fight, so he cannot fight with he doesn't, because whatever it is, he cannot fight with just like that with devotees, because they will not. That is why in Vrindavan also he makes everyone forget that he is Supreme Lord, right? So that's why they say that when Krishna, there is Bhagavad Gita shloka is there, yada yada hi dharmasya glane bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanan shajamyaham. So whenever and wherever there's a decline in religious practice or descendant of Bharata and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. So you can see from here Krishna, Balram, then Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Anirudh, Narayan, then again, it goes on like that. So let us look at the demigods. Okay, so you see Bill Gates. So do you think now Bill Gates, he is the CEO of the company, right? He's the owner. do you think he is going to go and market his own products? Right? He will not. So then what does he do? He has a sales team. He has a finance team. He has a purchase team. He has a research team. He has a human resources. He has administration. So let us look at few. The CEO is Krishna, and then Indra is in charge of rains, right? Then you have Surya, who is in charge of light. Then you have Agni, who is in charge of heat. Then you have Varuna, who is in charge of water. Then you have Chandra, who is in charge of vegetation. They say vegetation because this taste and the sweetness or whatever that comes in the vegetables, the fruits, is through the moon's cooling rays. When they fall on them, that is how the fruits and the vegetables get its taste. Then Vayu is in charge of air. So if Vayu stops, then we can imagine what is our condition. So Lakshmi Devi is in charge of finance, and Kubera is in charge of treasury, and Durga Devi is in charge of defense, and Kartikeya is the commander-chief. Actually, Durga Devi is in charge of getting us all back to the Lord. Okay, and Saraswati is in charge of knowledge, education. Then Yamaraj, they've called him, it's very funny, placement officer, in the sense that our soul is placed according to our activities by Yamaraj. Then Brahma is the charge of, he's the charge of creation, right? So that is how the administration, and that is why there are so many demigods, right? Because, and Krishna is also he also is very affectionate to his administrators, and he forgives all their mistakes because they also go through a lot of trouble to see that everything is happening in this world, right? So actually there are around 33 crores demigods, right? And if we were to worship each one of them, do you think would we be able to do that? So then if we have to what should we do? We have to please all the demigods. Then what should we do? Can anyone answer this question? Because we are indebted, right? Yes, Uditi?
Mataji, we should worship the CEO.
Yes, very right. So if we want, because we are indebted to all the administrators, right? Indra, if we don't praying in the sense, if we don't conduct yagyas, there will be no rains. Okay, so all the demigods, we are indebted to them for air, for water, for light, everything, each and everything. They are doing us a great big favor. But then, and we are it's in Bhagavad Gita, it says that we are indebted to everyone, to our parents, to the demigods, to the sages, in whose lineage we have all come. So everyone we are indebted. So how do you repay this debt? Because if we don't repay this debt, we are in great trouble. Because you have borrowed, right? If you are borrowed something, you have to give back to them. So the best way is to please the CEO. Yes, please Krishna. So if we water the root of the tree and please Krishna and try to do things that are following his, diktats or following his instructions, then everyone is pleased, right? Like if we try to, in class, say, if we try to do our homework and, then our teachers will be pleased. Similarly, we try to do everything to the best of ability. And how shall we please Krishna? By doing everything to the best of ability. By doing, not neglecting our duties, occupational duties as they are called. We have to be obedient to parents, listen to our parents, and do our whatever homework or whatever class tests or whatever we need to do. It has to be done on time. Everything has to be towards society. We have a debt. So we have to also be a good citizen of society. We have to not waste water and the scarce resources. These are all scarce resources, right? We cannot waste water and all the resources that we have, and we have to be very, very, we have to preserve them. We have to be an environmentalist also. So in that way, if we take care of our occupational duties, we are also an environmentalist. We are taking care of everything around us to the utmost best of ability, right? Or whatever we can do best. And if we know, and everyone, God knows, we are doing our best to our sincerest level best, then he is pleased with us. And if he is pleased, everyone is pleased. The debt that we owe them is all cancelled. So thank you very much for being an attentive audience. I end the class here. Sorry for going a little over time. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Tomorrow's session would be on why does bad things happen to good people. It is on karma, laws of karma. Very interesting session. Any questions? Okay. So I'll end the session. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.